I finished the green Titleist golf ball polystyrene drawing project during the late morning early afternoon period, more towards the early afternoon. As I recall getting up for today around 11 in the morning, and then around 11:30 in the morning I had 2 peanut butter and jelly bagel sandwiches with my first cup of plain coffee from the pot Dad made today, the morning pot. I recall having the usual 2 to 3 cups of plain coffee, roughly from 11:30 in the morning to about 2 p.m. After I had those 2 peanut butter and jelly bagel sandwiches from plain bagels that Dad pre-cut into halves, I did the finishing touches on the 4-leaf clover on the golf ball the polystyrene drawing project, and maybe a minor touch-up or two on the Titleist text itself, if I recall. Throughout the day, I've been switching between Crush and Chef Last Stand on Congregate to get badges from those 2 games. Then around 4:30 p.m., I recall having 3 sticks of celery I cut with the rest of a bag of Cool Ranch Doritos. I had the celery first. And then the Doritos. I tried having what was left of the old gallon of whole milk. But it turned out that the milk, it went bad. Initially, it didn't seem to pass the smell test. But then it seemed to pass the taste test to me. Initially, this was about a day past its Best By date. First sip is what caused it to pass the taste test. But once I got up here and took a bigger sip, it turned out it also failed the taste test, so I recall spitting that amount back into the plastic glass and then dumping it into the kitchen sink. And instead of having a beverage with the celery and Doritos, I just had some tap water out of this later on today. There was a part of some leftover after chewing and swallowing those cut up pieces of celery that I wasn't able to swallow despite chewing it to the best of the best I could. So I ended up kind of spitting that part out and then throwing it away. And I seemed to get some celery strands stuck between my teeth that I didn't really make an effort to get out, didn't really notice were stuck between my teeth until hours later, more towards the early night period. I use my fingernails and tongue to get those strands out of celery. The celery fiber is out. Since I don't recall us having any dental floss here, as of now, I've gotten most, if not all, of the celery fibers out from between my teeth. After work, Dad did some grocery shopping at the Wegmans that's near us, and I believe that included a new cardboard box pack of these, along with a new gallon of whole milk. I recall spending roughly from 1:15 p.m. to about 7 p.m. Watching videos on YouTube in order to think about notes I could take regarding my polystyrene drawings. I did a bit of work on this unfinished personal project, which will be a prop character for the 99th Dan Hamming episode. I finished outlining the bottom this part of this shoe on the bottom side of this polystyrene drawing, and then colored the little area I made on the bottom side of this polystyrene drawing project, just below this boot, this foot. Earlier on, at times, I thought of starting a new project entirely, and I might still do that so I have something to do at Grandma's place, but maybe not. Initially, earlier on, I had thoughts of resuming instead the second Spider-Man drawing, but ultimately, most likely now, I'm going to officially resume this project. Initially, I was going to have peanut butter and jelly bagel sandwiches for dinner instead of a phenomenal pho bowl with pepperoni I added in. But when I tried to cut a sesame seed bagels, since that seems to be the only ones we have currently, I wasn't quite able to cut it properly, and so instead I just had that bagel plain by itself. And that's what led me to decide to have what I ultimately had instead. I may have used a knife that was more suited for meat, maybe, but it still worked fine on that bagel. I wanted to be careful to keep my fingers out of the way, and that knife was left out, so I assumed that was the kind of knife Dad used to cut bagels in half. That it was a good bagel. I didn't toast it afterwards. It kind of fell apart somewhat, with one piece being a sort of half of one side of the bagel and the other piece being the rest of the bagel. Only partially detached in two pieces itself, due to me trying to cut it initially.